So first of all, thank you very much for joining us for this conference. I wanted to ask what opportunities you see on this educational market in Egypt?
Well, as we heard today, the market in Egypt is quite evolving. Let's say 10 years ago, there were more or less half the universities that are now in Egypt. The government is investing heavily in education. There are currently many types of universities in Egypt. So there are the state universities that are for free, and there are also the state universities that are for non-for-profit, and there are the private universities. So the market is evolving, the number of universities is increasing, and I think Egyptian market offers a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
One is that Egypt has been investing heavily in education, so there are universities that are now much better equipped and well prepared with better facilities, and they are more or less more competent to cooperate with their European counterparts. The second is that there are also universities in Egypt who are now offering the chance to attract European students. We all know that until now mostly the direction of students flow is from south to north, but I see this is changing not only in Egypt and other countries too in the South Mediterranean. And I see this in Egypt particularly happening with the new investment and the new facilities that are built in universities. So Egyptian market offers one, cooperation along programs like dual degree programs. Two, is also cooperation among staff members, so staff members can go in both directions. And three, also it is of course, besides receiving bright Egyptian students to study in European universities, I think we can also receive bright European students to study in Egyptian universities.
That's great to hear. And you are the president of EMUNI University. I wanted to ask also about activities of EMUNI, because you also are having the conference, so if you can tell us about that and how important it is for networking, that would be great.
Sure. At EMUNI we like to refer to ourselves as a catalyst facilitator of this Euro-Mediterranean cooperation. We have a big network of 140 plus universities and higher education institutions, and our role is not only in education. We're a graduate university, not only also managing the network, but we are also a platform for cooperation across the Mediterranean. So we are we try to look forward and try to be proactive and find the topics that are hot in the Mediterranean to be discussed among academics and policymakers. And usually in our annual conference we have a very good mix of these two, and also the society at large, so the social community, I mean. So in our next conference we chose the topic, and I think it is the right time to start reflecting on the role of universities, particularly in this changing market. So we call it actually the new models for universities, the adapting to change. So what is the change? The change is coming from the job market. It's becoming very dynamic. We know that most of the jobs for the future have not yet been invented. We know the effect of technology on changing the job market. We know that the new generation is thinking differently than the older one. We know that the skills that need to be built are not necessarily the same skills that we are teaching now in our master programs. So all these are drivers for change. So EMUNI decided to host this conference and discuss this change in view of all these drivers, and try to really think together with our colleagues in academia, the policymakers and the civil society, how to adapt to this change and how to implement the change in our universities.
Thank you for touching on so important topics, really, and thank you once again for joining us, and hopefully see you on the next conference.
Thank you very much, my pleasure.